Hi, Louis here, Head of Product at Motion. In this lesson, we're going to cover project templates, task auto-scheduling, and project ETAs, how they work, why they're a game changer, how you can use them to automate and streamline your projects. Project templates allow you to standardize and automate your project management process. Instead of manually creating the same tasks for every project, you can use templates to predefine the structure, assign work automatically, and ensure nothing gets forgotten. So what are project templates? Project templates let you create a reusable blueprint or a standard operating procedure for projects that follow the same structure. When you apply a template, Motion automatically generates all the necessary tasks, assigns them to the right people, and schedules them dynamically based on priorities and dependencies. Instead of spending hours setting up each project, templates allow you to launch new projects instantly with AI-driven scheduling. Now let's talk about auto-scheduling. Most task and project managers give you long lists of to-dos, but they don't tell you when to do them. Motion's auto-scheduling eliminates this problem by dynamically organizing your day for you. It automatically schedules your tasks based on deadlines, priorities, and availability, so you always know exactly what to work on next. Motion's AI-powered auto-scheduling takes the burden of planning off your plate. Instead of manually assigning times to tasks, Motion automatically finds the best time for you to complete them. Here's how it works. When you create a task, you don't have to pick a time. Motion does it for you. All you have to do is pick a deadline, a priority, and a duration. And remember, you can totally ballpark the duration. Motion looks at your existing meetings, deadlines, and workload to find the best time slot. If your schedule changes, Motion dynamically reschedules your tasks so that you're always working on the most important thing. Now remember, Motion does this for you, but it also does this for everybody on the team. Now let's put it together. Project templates and auto-scheduling work together. When you create a project using a template, Motion automatically creates all the tasks in the first stage, assigns them to the right person, and plans them on their calendar. When all tasks in a stage are complete, Motion automatically moves the project to the next stage, creates all the tasks in that stage, assigns them to the right person, and plans them on their calendar. Furthermore, Motion models out all tasks in future stages to provide an accurate project ETA. Motion actually places these tasks as ghost tasks on the calendar, which you can show and hide via a calendar setting called Hide Tasks in Future Stages. All right, now let's put all these concepts together into project ETAs. So what are project ETAs? These provide a status update on your projects and also your tasks based on their scheduling and their deadlines. Motion categorizes tasks and projects into different ETA statuses so you can quickly identify what's on track and what needs attention. Let's talk about project level ETAs. Motion automatically evaluates the health of your projects by analyzing the status of tasks and stages within them. Each project is assigned one of the following statuses. Green for on track, which means all tasks and stages are scheduled ahead of their deadline. Yellow, which is at risk, which means some tasks or stages are scheduled past their deadline, but the overall project is still on track. Blue, which is ahead of schedule, which means all tasks are progressing more than 10% ahead of their deadline. Schedule past deadline, which is orange, means that the project contains tasks that are scheduled beyond their deadlines, and the project might not be on track. Lastly, red means that the project deadline has passed and work within that project still remains incomplete. A healthy workspace typically contains a mix of mostly on-track and at-risk projects. If too many projects are in the schedule past deadline or missed deadline category, it's a sign that adjustments need to be made. Motion calculates the project level ETAs by first calculating the task level ETA. Every task in Motion is automatically evaluated based on its deadline and its schedule. Tasks fall into one of the following categories. Green for on track, meaning that the task is scheduled to be completed before its deadline. Orange or scheduled past deadline means that the task is currently scheduled beyond its deadline, but it can still be rescheduled to meet it. Red means missed deadline. The task has already passed its deadline and it remains incomplete. Motion will continue auto-scheduling it until you complete it. Lastly, there's gray, which means no ETA. In other words, the task is not auto-scheduled, or the task is so far ahead in the future that Motion hasn't had the chance to auto-schedule it yet. If a task or project is falling behind, you can always hover over its ETA icon to see what's causing the issue. For example, there might be a dependency that's blocking your task from being able to complete in time. And then you can take an action right in line to fix it. Motion provides smart recommendations for rescheduling, reassigning, or prioritizing tasks to get things back on track. Motion can know with high accuracy what a task ETA is because it can plan out work using people's real calendar availability. And because we can predict the task level ETA, we can also predict the project level ETA. Motion is the only tool that can do this at scale for all projects and all tasks in your organization. This level of accuracy and prediction has never been achieved before in a project management tool. And that's why I think Motion is going to be a game changer for you. Now let's get into the demo. To demo this, I'm going to go here to my Motion instance. As you can see, this is today's lesson. I'm using a document. But let's switch out of this and go back here into client engagements. So remember my client engagements workspace. I'm going to click here to go to settings. I'm going to go to project templates. You see that there's 2 project templates right in here. And you see that each of these templates is made up of stages. Let's open one up to take a look. This client project, for example. Let's click here to edit. You can see this project has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stages. And each of these stages has a duration. It has tasks or events. And each of these tasks has a start date, a deadline, and many other fields. This template has a name, it has a description, it has a color, a folder, an assignee, labels, priorities. I can edit the project description itself for when I create the project, and I can add attachments. So whenever I create a project using this template, the attachments come along with it. There's also some roles in here, like designer, copywriter, content writer, graphic designer, SEO, engineer, account executive, project manager. What am I using these for? Well, when I create a project using this template, I want to assign these tasks to different people every time. I want to say, hey, the project manager for this specific project is going to be so and so. And so I don't want to hard code people's names within the template. So I use these as variables. Lastly, we have these workspace text variables. And so these are variables that will help me pass in text into the template so that it can later be used for the tasks. So for example, project name is a variable called PN. And when I create a project using this template, the task will be called kickoff meeting dash project name, whatever that project name is going to be. So you may be wondering why when I hover over a stage, it gets grayed out with an edit stage button. And that is because stages are reusable. So when you create a project template, you're using a stage that is also defined at the workspace level. So let's take a look. It's client onboarding. If I edit stage, I go into edit mode. But the client onboarding stage, let me get out of here. But the client onboarding stage, it's actually defined down here as a stage. So down here, I have my workspace stage store, and these stages are reusable across projects and across project templates. Let's talk about what happens when I edit a project template or when I edit a stage. If I edit a project template, for example, I go here and I add a new stage to this project by clicking over here, every single project that is running that uses this template will get updated to have that stage. What is a running project? Is a project that is not canceled and not completed. Now, if I go into one of the stages, for example, this client onboarding stage that we talked about before, and I make an edit to this, say I add a task or event, or I remove a task or event, then what Motion will do is it will update any project that is currently running that is using that stage, where that stage happens to be in the future. So if the stage is currently active, it will not get updated. But if the stage happens to be the next stage or a stage in the future, it will automatically get updated with the refreshed version of the template. This makes sure that your projects are always using the latest version of your standard operating procedures. Okay, so now let's go ahead and look at some magical things that Motion can do. Let's go in here and let's create a new project template. So I'm going to create with AI to make things a little easier. And I'm going to create a template to standardize campaign planning, content creation, and launch activities. Note that here, you can go ahead and upload any file you already have to help Motion create the template for you. So if you already have an Excel or a PDF that explains your standard operating procedures, you can just upload it here and Motion will make sense of it. So I'm gonna go ahead and click here to generate and preview. And this can take about 15 seconds. So let's give it a minute. All right, so Motion has gone ahead and created a template for us. It gave it a name, campaign management workflow. Remember that for later. It figured out the roles that it needed to add, like campaign manager, content creator, graphic designer, and marketing analyst. And it figured out a few text variables like campaign name, target audience, and launch date. You see that it created a planning stage, a content creation stage, launch preparation, campaign launch, and post-campaign review. You can also see that in each of these stages, it gave it a duration and it created tasks or events that need to happen for that stage to be completed. Let's take a look at this planning stage. You see that the duration is 5 days. All the tasks in this stage are going to be auto-scheduled. You can see that the first task is to identify campaign goals and objectives. The start date is the start date of the stage, and the deadline is the deadline of the stage. You can change this. You can say, like, for example, I need this task to be finished 3 days before the stage deadline, and Motion will automatically take care of that for you. It assigned this to the campaign manager, and there's no blockers. I want to set up blockers for these tasks. So let's go ahead and block by that. Oops. Make this one blocked by that. Make this one blocked by that. And make this one blocked by that. What this will do is make sure that all these tasks get done in order. This is very important for these first two tasks because they're assigned to different people. So I don't want my marketing analyst to start researching the target audience before my campaign manager figures out the campaign goals and objectives. I mean, that would be kind of dumb. Let's go ahead and save this stage. Again, that saves a stage for everybody. And let's take a look at this content creation stage. So in this content creation stage, I have an event that is created here with the template. So what does that mean? That means that Motion knows that a brainstorm needs to happen to kick off this stage. And so what it will do is it will create a task on the campaign manager's calendar to go ahead and schedule an event that's called Brainstorm Content Ideas. I'm going to show you how this works in a second. Let's get out of here. Let's click cancel and let's save this template. Remember, it's called Campaign Management Workflow. Let's go ahead and save it. And my project workflow template has been created. Let's go ahead and create a project with this template. Remember, we are in the client engagements workspace. Let's give it a title and let's call it Motion Marketing Campaign. Let's click continue and let's set some dates. Let's start this project today through the 14th. That's fine. See that Motion automatically knows how long each stage is going to be and when each stage deadline is going to happen. Now let's go and assign roles. This is very important. So who's the campaign manager? There's two options here. You can assign a campaign manager that applies for all stages, or you can assign a different campaign manager for each of the stages. I'm going to set myself as the campaign manager. Let's set Aisha as the marketing analyst. Let's say Carlos as the content creator. And let's set Emily as the graphic designer. Let's go ahead and click continue. And lastly, the client is going to be Trendsetters Retail, and they have not paid. So these are our custom fields. Let's go ahead and continue. And you see that the project is created. You see that all the tasks are created for the first stage. They're auto-scheduled and they're assigned to the correct person. So let's take a look at this project overview. The first thing to note is that the project is on track. That means everything's on track. The project is currently in the planning stage. And all these tasks are created, assigned, and auto-scheduled. Right now, this task is assigned to me to be done on Monday 17 at 2 p.m. And this task, remember this task, research target audience, is blocked on the identify campaign goals. So this one is scheduled for Tuesday at 9 a.m. because Aisha has to wait for me to finish my task. So let's go ahead and complete these tasks. Let's pretend that I completed this task, Aisha completed her task, then I completed this task, then I completed this task, and then I completed this task. And look at, before I complete the last task, you can see here that the stage is getting completed. If I hover over it, it tells me that there's just 1 hour of open work and 88% of the stage has been completed. Let's go ahead and complete this last task and let's see what happens. As you can see, Motion automatically moved the project to the next stage. It created all the tasks in the content creation stage. It assigned them to the right people, and it put them on the calendar. You can see if I hover right here, I have a few options. I can turn off auto scheduling for all tasks in the stage. I can complete the stage, or I can cancel the stage. If I complete or cancel the stage, Motion will ask me if I want to move to the next stage or give me other options to resolve the stages. So the project is still on track. Remember the brainstorm event that I need to schedule? This is right here in the content creation stage. If I click on it, you will see that instead of a complete task, I have a schedule event. So I can click right here, create event, or choose an existing event. I'm going to go ahead and create an event. This is the correct date. I can add guests, and I can click create event. As soon as the event is created, as you can see here, the task to schedule the event has been completed. Let's go back out of the settings. In the client engagements workspace, let's go to the task list and let's collapse all projects. Let's see where our project is. It's right here. It's our motion marketing campaign. Let's open it up again and give it a distinct color so it's easier for us to find. Say purple. All right, so see this project right here is on track, and Motion knows exactly how much it's on track. It's 5 days ahead of schedule. But you can see that the project below it, the local business social strategy, is scheduled past deadline by 2 days. We can click on this to have Motion help us resolve this. So again, it tells me that it's scheduled past deadline by 2 days. Motion recommends that I pick the 28th because that's when all the tasks are scheduled to be done. But I also can do it end of that week just to give myself a little bit more breathing room. You can see down here exactly which tasks are causing the project to be late. And I can go ahead and fix one by one, or I can fix them all. If I click fix them all, it gives me a few options. For example, I can do all of them ASAP, which increases the priority of them. If you do this for one project, some other project is going to get late. You can turn hard deadline for all of them, which means some of the tasks can be scheduled outside of working hours. This is usually what I end up doing if we have a crunch or if we're running late on stuff. Or I can complete all the tasks or cancel all the tasks. And if you want to change dates, you have an option here to review dates. So when you click on that, we give you an overview of exactly what's happening. So here's where it was before. You can see that it started on 3/23, but after Motion saying, hey, maybe you can start this project a little bit earlier and you can extend the deadline a little bit and make all the dates fit. I actually don't want to choose that. I want to choose Friday, May 2nd. So you can see here the preview for that option. I'm going to go ahead and extend deadline. And as soon as I do that, you see that the project became green. One last way that you can look at your projects, it's in this Gantt view. So if I move from list, remember I was in my task list to Gantt, I can see all my projects in here and I can see how they're progressing. So right now I have my projects grouped by stage because that's how they were grouped in the list view. I'm going to remove this and say group by none. And I'm going to turn this off for consolidate rows so I can see each project in a different row. So here you can see that Motion tells you at a glance exactly how projects are progressing. You can hover over each of the stages and see what's happening with all your stages. You can see that this project, it's in the campaign execution stage, and you can see the ETA writing here. So as you scroll down, you can see the ETAs for all your projects. What happens if a project is running super late? Let's grab this project, for example, and put it right here. Once it moves, you see that Motion highlights it super red. This is a project has missed its deadline by 2 days. Again, you can resolve it from writing here, but it lets you know at a glance in a timeline view exactly what's happening. Also, you can edit the projects from writing here. So for example, I can extend the deadline of this project by doing that. I can move the start date by just doing that. And you can see that it gives me a preview of where it used to be and where it's going to be. Why are we doing that? Because the stages get resized proportionally. And so we want to give you a preview of exactly what's happening to each stage. Lastly, you can also press Shift and drag. Shift dragging on the project start only resizes the first stage. Shift dragging on the project deadline only increases or decreases the last stage. And you can edit each of the stages by just clicking and dragging. You see, if I click and drag a stage, it moves the whole deadline around, right? because, hey, if I'm making the stage shorter, the project should be done sooner. But if I shift, click, and drag, it only moves the deadline of that stage. It doesn't move the deadline of the project. All right, so that's that for the demo. As you can see, project workflow templates are super easy to create. Motion automatically schedules your tasks and gives you an ETA, which is the most accurate prediction in the industry. So let's talk about a few things that are unique to Motion's project templates that you won't find anywhere else. First, editing a template applies the changes to all active projects that use that template. So your projects are always using the latest standard operating procedure. Note that only visited stages are affected to changes in the template, where an unvisited stage is a stage that's in the future with respect to the current stage of the project. Second, templates are broken up into stages and stages are reusable. This means that you can edit a stage and all templates using that stage will automatically be updated. And all active projects will be updated in turn as well. Third, when creating a project and using a template, Motion automatically creates, assigns, and auto-schedules all tasks in the project, meaning that Motion can give you the most accurate ETA in the industry for each project deadline, each stage deadline, and each task. Fourth, Motion automatically keeps projects moving along. This means that as soon as all tasks in a stage are completed, Motion automatically moves the project to the next stage and assigns and auto-schedules all tasks in the new stage. Let me give you a few examples of how you can use project workflow templates. You can use them for client onboarding to automate the setup of client profiles, kickoff calls, and initial deliverables. You can use them for software development to create structured workflows for feature development, QA testing, and release cycles. This is how we mostly use project workflow templates inside of Motion. You can use them for marketing campaigns to standardize campaign planning, content creation, and launch activities. You can use them for HR processes, for hiring, onboarding, and performance reviews. You can even use them for event planning to automate the scheduling of logistics, promotions, and post-event follow-ups. No matter your industry, if your team repeats processes, it can be turned into a template to save time and increase efficiency. And as you saw before, you can create these templates using Motion AI. So it's fast and easy to do. Let's talk about some best practices for using project templates. First, you should start with a simple version of your process and refine it over time. Even better, just create it with AI. Second, use task dependencies to ensure work is completed in the correct order. Third, assign roles in templates rather than specific people to allow more flexibility. Fourth, you can set relative due dates so deadlines adjust dynamically when a project starts. And fifth, you should regularly review templates to improve efficiency and remove unnecessary steps, or to add steps. One thing that we found at Motion is that whenever we forget a step, we go and add it to the project workflow template so that we never forget it again. All right, let's recap. Here's what we covered. Project templates allow you to create structured, reusable workflows for recurring projects. Auto-scheduling of tasks gives Motion the power to predict the future. And by using project templates and auto-scheduling together, Motion can accurately predict ETAs for projects and tasks. I hope you find this as game-changing as we do. We use this every day internally for all of our processes. That's it for this lesson. I'll see you on the next one. Until then, happy scheduling and bye-bye.